It's Friday, June 12th. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. A medical examiner testifies about the injuries suffered by two boys murdered in St. John. The first piece is put in place as work begins on Canada's new fleet of warships.
Showers move across the region tomorrow. Risk of thunderstorms with them. A little bit more sunshine expected Sunday.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good evening. We begin with the drug problem in our region. First to Moncton, where the surge of overdoses is showing no signs of slowing down. CTV's Derek Haggett has the numbers and strain on emergency services.
It's another day on the front lines at a downtown Moncton homeless shelter.
It's been a lot. There's been like multiple overdoses a day, some days 40, 50. It's tiring, it's overwhelming, we're exhausted.
Harvest House says they've managed over 300 overdose responses since June 1st. They're averaging 28 per day. The province is warning drugs in the city may contain a strong sedative used by veterinarians that is often mixed with fentanyl.
We bring it all home with us, so no matter what we go through here, we have to go home, we have to deal with it there, and then we come back tomorrow and we do it all again, because who else is going to do it?
Ambulance New Brunswick says they've responded to 248 suspected overdose calls in the Moncton area over the past 2 weeks. The Moncton Fire Department responded to 23 overdose calls yesterday, and the total volume of calls of late is unprecedented.
It's something that even any firefighters have ever seen here in the Moncton Fire Department. So these are numbers that we've never seen in the history of the Moncton Fire Department.
It's been taxing on crews, and the mental health of firefighters is an issue.
We all like to think we can handle anything, but there's definitely burnout. I see it in myself. I see it in other guys, yeah.
This homeless advocate says he's been with teams that have revived over 100 people in the past 2 weeks, and everyone is worn thin.
There's no resources for these people. Mental health, detox, rehabilitation, they don't exist.
The province says they're aware of the situation and have been in contact with local agencies like Harvest House to coordinate responses and strengthen support. The Vice President of Community Development, the YMCA, says they've responded to 75 overdose calls in the last 2 weeks. She says that's taking a toll on everyone involved, and she called her team members heroes. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
It's become a regular sight in part of Dartmouth, but it doesn't mean people there are used to it or willing to accept the level of drug use or discarded needles in their neighborhood. CTV's Emma Convey has more on what many fear is a worsening problem.
These photos were taken just outside of Zatzman Sportsplex in Dartmouth Thursday morning at 9. It's a common sight around this area, according to neighbors.
I've seen people down at the bus stops, openly using in the middle of the day in the bus stop, up by the stores. People are, obviously inebriated to different degrees.
James Croson has lived in Dartmouth for 30 years. In the last 4 to 5, he says it's taken a turn. Theft in the neighborhood, drug and alcohol use, and the evidence laying around.
You see a lot of paraphernalia left around, quite often syringes, caps of syringes. You do see other things, condoms, stuff like that. Lots of garbage from where people have been using drugs. They're just leaving cans and bottles and things like that.
Anywhere between the Bridge Shelter and the Alderney Library, Croson says are hotspots.
Joseph Sassman is one area that our officers do frequent and conduct our stop and walks or foot patrols. Areas along Alderney have been mentioned before, so again, our officers focus their efforts there as well.
Police say they are working with outreach teams and stakeholders to address concerns.
Anytime there's, that activity, that behavior, the drug paraphernalia found in spaces where there's children, of course it's a concern.
Tim Merceska with the Downtown Dartmouth Business Commission says they get calls about it a few times a month.
You need to be guarded when you're out and about, particularly with small children in parks and that, because you may come across needles. I know in downtown Dartmouth, we've stepped up our garbage cleanups and needle pickup.
And this splash pad in Dartmouth already has security from 9 in the morning until 9 at night, even though it's closed. Now, this splash pad, as well as others across HRM, will open on Monday for the season. Tim Merceska with the Downtown Dartmouth Business Commission says at this location, they're planning to have proper supervision. Now, community members say they're just hoping that spaces like this are clean and safe this summer. Todd.
All right, Emma Convey in downtown Dartmouth, thank you. Online, a New Brunswick woman is suing OpenAI, alleging ChatGPT led to her daughter's death. The details are at our website right now at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. One after another, witnesses have taken the stand, providing often graphic testimony about the scene of the murder of 2 boys in St. John. Well, today it was the medical examiner who offered details of the injuries they suffered. And we must warn you, some of the images in this report are disturbing. CTV's Avery McRae is at court again tonight.
A medical examiner from Nova Scotia spent most of the day on the witness stand. Dr. Eric Mont testified both boys, aged 17 and 10 years old, died of multiple stab wounds to the chest and abdomen in January of 2025. It's alleged they were killed by 46-year-old Roman Komishny, who is facing 2 charges of first-degree murder. He has pleaded not guilty. The victims' identities are protected. Dr. Mont detailed the stab wounds, and photos of the injuries were entered as evidence. According to the pathologist, the 17-year-old, known as victim CD, had 6 substantial stab wounds that would have required immediate medical attention. The 10-year-old victim, known as AB, had at least 4 wounds that would have needed quick intervention, and many others to a lesser degree. The most prominent on him featured 2 stab wounds through the heart and another in the lung. When asked by the Crown how much force would be needed to create such marks, Dr. Mont said it would likely require substantial force. The defense quickly cross-examined the doctor, asking if some of the purple-like bruising on the victims was common in any autopsy, to which the doctor agreed. The jury also heard from Joey Raymond, a correctional officer at Dalhousie Regional Correctional Center. He testified that on the day of Komishny's arrival, tensions were high in the unit when other inmates learned what the 46-year-old was accused of. That led to his removal from the unit. And while alone in the hallway with the accused, Raymond testified Komishny allegedly asked him, "Is it going to be like this everywhere? It's not that bad. I just killed A, B, and C, D." The defense asked Raymond if he may have misheard the accused, but Raymond insisted that's what he heard. Todd, when pictures of the victims' bodies were shown in court, the accused, Roman Komishny, kept his head down for the most part. The trial resumes here on Monday afternoon. Todd?
Thank you, Avery McRae at St. John Courthouse this evening. A woman convicted in the 2014 murder of Halifax University student Loretta Saunders is being allowed temporary passes from prison. Parole documents obtained by CTV News show Victoria Henneberry has been granted 2 72-hour unescorted temporary absences for what's described as personal development. Henneberry was given a life sentence after pleading guilty in April of 2015 to second-degree murder, and her boyfriend pleaded guilty to first-degree murder in the death of Saunders. As part of the conditions, the 40-year-old must stay at a residential facility each night. While on unescorted leave, Henneberry will be allowed 3 outings, including a tour of a college campus and 2 trips to a grocery store. There's a live look at the city of Edmundston right now, where there is a low ceiling. Look at that, overcast, 13 degrees. Let's bring in CTV meteorologist Kayla Mitchell. Yeah. It seemed to start as a very warm, sunny day in a lot of places, and then it's almost like the clouds and fog kind of enveloped everything, and you drop in temperatures.
Yeah, it was certainly a day of change for weather conditions across the Maritimes. Let's take a look at how things sort of played out today. We'll start off with low temperatures this morning. And all right, okay, a little bit cooler through eastern parts of the region. You can see some temperatures there in the morning, 7 to 9 degrees, a little bit milder towards the west. Morning temperatures around the low to mid-teens. But take a look what happened with high temperatures for today. Well, those eastern areas remained on the cooler side, with in a lot of cases high temperatures topping out in the high teens, or low to high teens. You could see that western parts of the Maritimes, where the sun broke through, temperatures really warmed up, especially in western areas of Nova Scotia, locations like the Annapolis Valley, where some high temperatures were close to 30 degrees. And contrast that with the temperature difference for some eastern parts of the region, including Sydney, which had a high temperature closer to 11. And we saw that sort of divide in temperatures extend all the way through the afternoon and into the first part of this evening. Here's where we stand with temperatures now. We still have some heat holding out around interior areas of the southwest of Nova Scotia. A little bit warmer in the southwest of New Brunswick. Has cooled down, though, much up and down the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia as the easterly wind has brought in cloud cover and fog off of the Atlantic. In the meantime, we do have some shower activity, some showers present around the northeast of New Brunswick, down across Prince Edward Island, now into eastern areas of Nova Scotia, including parts of Antigonish County, across the Cancel Causeway and locations in Cape Breton, and still a risk of some thunderstorms around western areas of New Brunswick as we move through this evening. Showers up around Edmundston now, not seeing any lightning in the vicinity there yet, but they are one of the communities where there remains a risk of a thunderstorm moving through this evening. Most of the thunderstorm activity is a little bit further towards the south through the state of Maine right now. Haven't seen much weakening in these thunderstorms yet. If they continue to hold together, they could become in the vicinity of some communities in the west of New Brunswick, such as Woodstock, Heartland, and Centerville within the next couple of hours. That part of the Maritimes needs to have a little bit of weather awareness as we make our way through this evening. And when thunder roars, head indoors. I have more showers to talk about, a further risk of some thunderstorms, and I'll have that in the forecast coming up a little bit later on.
Yeah, and we'll get an update on that system in about 15 minutes from you. Thank you very much. Weekend traffic is about to get worse in Halifax as motorists face another weekend without one of the city's harbour bridges. CTV's Callum Smith has an update.
If you're buckling up this weekend, brace for a headache too. Nothing says summer in Halifax like one of its two bridges closing for weekend repairs. For motorists, it's a mix of understanding and annoyance.
It sucks, but it's got to be done. You know, they're going to maintain the bridges. That should be quite a chaos.
The McKay will close from 9 p.m. tonight to 5:30 Monday morning. Part of the work includes
taking asphalt off. We're going down to steel in many cases.
With several inspections needed too. Dartmouth Councillor Tony Mancini likens it to HRM roadwork or Halifax water maintenance.
It's definitely an inconvenience, but it is this time of this season, right? So what's the alternative? We don't do the maintenance, so it is tough.
Halifax Harbour Bridges is covering the cost of ferry service this weekend to give people an alternative. City staff previously said they collect a combined $25,000 from ferry fares on Saturday and Sunday. Mancini's focused on improving bus and ferry service and getting the Mill Cove ferry terminal built. That might be helpful, especially because the McKay Bridge is nearing the end of its lifespan. The Bridge Commission wants some form of alternative by 2040. Some drivers feel it's not sustainable to have so much traffic back up whenever one bridge is down.
Just that much more frustrating. We're only getting, more populated and, people having to go around and whatnot. It just kind of creates more, risk of accidents with one bridge open.
One other McKay Bridge closure is expected this construction season. McDonald Bridge closures are expected to occur during overnight hours to minimize disruption. Callum Smith, CTV News, Halifax.
The Supreme Court of Canada has ruled New Brunswick's Lieutenant Governor must be bilingual. Today's ruling follows the 2019 appointment of former Lieutenant Governor Brenda Murphy, who only spoke English. That appointment was appealed by the Société de l'Acadie, and today judges ruled a unilingual Lieutenant Governor violates charter language rights. The Premier agrees with the decision.
We believed that the person as well as the institution should be bilingual, and that is something that we've pushed the federal government on.
The Premier is glad the decision doesn't validate any legislation signed by Murphy while she was Lieutenant Governor. New Brunswick is Canada's only officially bilingual province. One person was sent to hospital suffering from smoke inhalation after a morning fire in central Halifax. Crews responded to Charles Street at around 7 o'clock this morning. The fire was concentrated in the back of a large house converted into 4 apartments. The 2 units in the back of the structure sustained fire, smoke, and water damage. The 2 at the front were damaged by smoke alone. Several crews had the fire under control an hour later. A tenant was taken to hospital for observation. The magnitude of loss from an apartment fire in Bridgewater is now settling in. 1 person died, several others are now homeless. And as CTV's Hafsa Arif tells us, questions are emerging.
The flames are gone, the smoke has cleared. But for many in Bridgewater, the pain left behind the deadly fires is still hanging in the air.
It is still early right now, so I'm sure more will
more will be revealed as time goes on.
One person died when the apartment building burned. Investigators continue searching for answers while residents are left trying to rebuild their lives.
The site was turned over again to the owners, and there's investigation is ongoing. I know that the partner of the person that was lost in the fire returned to Bridgewater yesterday.
Roughly 10 to 12 people were forced from their homes, escaping with little more than the clothes they were wearing. The community is coming together to support them.
You know, people have lost everything. They don't know where they're going to be living, but they need to know that there's water, there's food, there's clothing, so that they can try and pick up the pieces of their lives.
The Salvation Army is opening a donation center in Bridgewater tomorrow to collect the essentials.
It's a place where they can come, they can meet with people, they can have someone to talk to, they can feel that support, and also get some items that they need.
In the meantime, another conversation has emerged. Questions about firefighting resources.
They'll look at it as some paid firefighters that are at the station. If you had 5 or 6, at least then they could have responded right away, and it could have made a big difference. But not saying that it would have made any, but it could have.
The town says those questions will be reviewed, but cautions against rushing to conclusion.
We saw the number of people deployed on the ground, and unfortunately, this fire took hold of that building almost instantaneously.
The town plans to speak to its fire chief to determine whether resources are necessary at this time. For now, community groups are organizing donations and support efforts for residents. The mayor says more information on those initiatives is expected in coming days. Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Bridgewater.
Business has wrapped up. The spring session of the New Brunswick legislature is over, and MLAs are heading home. 27 bills received royal assent. They include changes to the property tax system, creating a consumer advocate for energy, and a bill to streamline the mining approval process. It was also the last legislative sitting day for the PC interim leader, Glenn Savoie. The Progressive Conservatives will choose a leader before the fall session in October. He says he will be there to support whomever wins that leadership race. As tradition would have it, they laid the keel at Halifax shipyard today, marking the formal beginning of construction of Canada's next generation of battleship. HMCS Fraser, the first of the River-class destroyers, will go into service sometime in the early 2030s. CTV's Jonathan McGuinness reports.
The keel-laying ceremony is a tradition that dates back to the ancient Romans.
The coin will be placed in a coin cap.
The ceremony includes securing a coin in the hull of the ship to bring luck to the captain and crew during the life of the vessel. This coin is being welded into what will be the first River-class destroyer to be named the HMCS Fraser.
And now you are building the destroyers we need to make sure that no one will ever come into our waters without our permission.
The new ships will be replacing an aging fleet of Halifax-class destroyers and Iroquois-class frigates.
The River-class destroyer is going to have a radar that can see into space, missiles that can reach the edge of space. It's going to have a full-spectrum capability, so it'll be part of integrated air and missile defense for Canada.
It has been 57 years since Canada laid a keel for a destroyer. The ship's construction will employ 3,000 workers at the Irving Shipyard in Halifax.
It's good for Canada. This is what Canada needs to be doing. We want to diversify the economy a little bit. Okay, this is what we do. It shows what is possible here in Canada, built at home and with our own tradespeople.
These destroyers are part of the federal government's national shipbuilding strategy. So far, the Irving Shipyard has built 6 Arctic and offshore patrol ships for the Navy and is working on 2 more for the Canadian Coast Guard. The contract for the River-class destroyers is worth more than $22 billion.
These ships will form the backbone of the Royal Canadian Navy,
one that will support the military for decades to come. Well, Todd, Canada has officially ordered 3 River-class destroyers. That fleet could grow to 15. The ship currently under construction is scheduled to be in the water in the early 2030s. Todd.
All right, John, at the Irving Shipyard. Horns are blaring in the background in Halifax this evening. Time for our first break on this Friday. On the other side, your weekend weather forecast. But first, speaking of vessels, could the ferries stop running? Workers are threatening strike action that could shut down the ferry to Newfoundland. We'll have that next.
This is the Campfire Conditions Report brought to you by Pine Acres RV, where customers become friends. Good news for those in the province of New Brunswick who wish to have a campfire. They are now currently allowed across New Brunswick. For the province of Nova Scotia, campfires still restricted to the hours of 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. for most, and Queens County remains closed to campfires. And for Prince Edward Island, campfires are allowed, with domestic brush burning permitted between the hours of 2 p.m. and 8 a.m. Along with these provincial restrictions, check in on municipal restrictions and bylaws.
A potential strike on the Newfoundland ferries could disrupt travel this summer. The union representing workers is trying to appeal a more than 20-year-old decision that the ferry is an essential service that cannot be stopped by labor disputes. Details now from CTV's Ryan McDonald.
The Newfoundland ferry was still running out of North Sydney today, but a potential strike has people feeling uneasy on both sides of the Cabot Strait.
When it comes to labor disputes, nobody wants them.
Recently, the union representing about 700 ferry workers asked the Canadian Industrial Relations Board to reconsider a 2004 decision that determined the ferry service is essential to the health and safety of people in Newfoundland and Labrador. Unifor wouldn't comment today, but in a statement, Marine Atlantic says the union is asking the board to reduce crossings to 3 per week in each direction on the Port aux Basques route and suspend the Argentia service in the event of a labor dispute.
It is our economic security. It is our highway. It's our lifeline.
The head of the Atlantic Chamber of Commerce says not only do they consider the ferry an essential service, they see it as part of the Trans-Canada Highway when it comes to the delivery of things like food and medical supplies to Newfoundland.
Well, I'm on the highway right now, driving from Moncton to Halifax. I can't imagine coming at the border and for someone to say to me, there's a strike or we're full right now, you can no longer go through.
Here on the North Sydney side of the water, while the impact is not as big as it is in Newfoundland and Labrador, a local councillor says having all of this traffic come through regularly is something that people here count on.
They go up to the North Sydney Mall or they find themselves something to eat in the food place. They'll park their rigs in one of the areas close by. So it's an economic impact to have Marine Atlantic here in this area.
Marine Atlantic says there can be no strike or lockout until a decision has been reached by the Industrial Board, one that the Atlantic Chamber is eagerly awaiting.
Workers, of course, are the heartbeat of employers who we represent. So we really want them to get to the table and figure this out. But we cannot put those living on an island at risk while they work out that deal.
Further updates on the essential service designation and the potential strike are expected later this month. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, North Sydney.
Still to come, it looks like it's going to be a cool, wet start to the weekend, but things are bound to improve. Kayla Mitchell has the details after this. Nice warm afternoon at the beach in Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia. This is First Lake. Blue skies. Nobody on the beach, Kayla Mitchell, but makes for a pretty picture.
Sure does. Nice to see some sunshine today. Tomorrow's expected to be a fair bit cloudier for most of the Maritime region, though the sun may break through on Saturday in the afternoon for western areas of New Brunswick, maybe peek through a little bit in the southwest of Nova Scotia. Even as that happens, though, there will still be a chance of pop-up showers and a risk of thunderstorms with that. Speaking of thunderstorms, Todd, you want an update on those thunderstorms that are making their way through Maine right now? They continue to move towards the east and northeast, kind of slowly, about 30 kilometers an hour. The hazards reported with them: lightning, downpours, potential for some small hail, and some strong wind gusts. The line building out a little bit further towards the south, so as we make our way through this evening, I know we talked about the risk for Woodstock this evening, but there also might be a risk there for areas like Macadam, a little bit further towards into the southwest of New Brunswick as well. That is something you're going to need to watch out for here over the next couple of hours. For the next 2-3 hours, they may close in on that western area of New Brunswick. Now, there's expected to be some further showers this evening and tonight as well for northern areas of New Brunswick, and basically within the showers around the Maritimes for tonight, there is going to continue to be a risk of some small thunderstorms within them. The atmosphere is just a little bit unstable right now, and that carries on into Saturday morning. First thing in the morning hours, the highest chance of showers, and the associated risk of a thunderstorm will be around eastern areas of New Brunswick, crossing through western parts of Prince Edward Island, but there will likely be a few isolated showers that make their way across areas of Nova Scotia and some areas of some fog and some drizzle. Now for Saturday afternoon, it is scattered showers in Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia. Still a low risk of thunderstorms and some isolated showers that are expected to pop up late Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening in western areas of New Brunswick, where again it may turn a little bit sunnier. And with those showers, there will be a risk of some thunderstorms. Now, as we move through Saturday evening and Saturday night, the bulk of the showers come to an end. In the forecast for Sunday, there'll be a returning chance of some showers and thunderstorms to northern areas of New Brunswick. The rest of the Maritimes probably looking at Monday before getting into the next round of some wet weather. Rainfall amounts for tonight and for tomorrow. In most cases where it just ends up being lighter showers moving through, a lot of the rainfall totals will be in the range of around a few to several millimeters. Potentially seeing some pockets as high as 10 to 20 millimeters, though, around parts of Prince Edward Island, northern areas of New Brunswick. And of course, if you do happen to have a thunderstorm that moves directly over top of your area, that could bring in some locally higher rainfall totals. Now, winds for this evening are mostly out of the east and southeast, as returning fog up and down the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia, likely parts of the Bay of Fundy coastline as well. Winds in the forecast for tomorrow become north and northeast in the afternoon for New Brunswick, sustained 10 to 20 kilometers per hour, remaining mostly out of the south and southeast for both Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia. Low temperatures in the forecast for tonight, much like last night, will be coolest in eastern parts of the region there, between 7 and 11 degrees. Western parts of the Maritimes tonight with low temperatures mostly between 11 and 15. Highs in the forecast for tomorrow. You can see communities in the west of New Brunswick a little bit warmer. It's because of the sun breaking through in the afternoon, but still with that chance of a shower, risk of a thunderstorm, then cooler for communities a little bit further towards the east. So there could be some mid-20s in the southwestern corner of New Brunswick for Saturday, but you can see temperatures come down moving towards Moncton, the southeast. Moncton with a high close to 19 degrees. Prince Edward Island for tomorrow with high temperatures between 11 and 16. There'll be a few showers moving throughout the day with a risk of a thunderstorm, and some showers moving through eastern areas of Nova Scotia through the day with high temperatures mostly around the low to mid-teens. In northern and central areas of Nova Scotia for tomorrow, a lot of the high temperatures between 12 and 15 degrees, 17 at Amherst. Possible the sun breaks through just a little bit in the afternoon in the southwest. Nova Scotia may allow for some high temperatures to get up towards the low 20s. Coastal areas, though, mostly between around 13 and 18 degrees. Taking a look at the extended forecast for New Brunswick. So on Sunday, I've got isolated showers there, risk of a thunderstorm. That's mostly for northern parts of the province. Other areas of New Brunswick will see some showers move through Sunday night through Monday morning. And behind that, it's a mix of sun and cloud for Tuesday, a chance of showers on Wednesday of next week, a mix of sun and cloud on Thursday, and a chance of showers on Friday. For Nova Scotia, in the forecast for Sunday, fog in the morning, then a mix of sun and cloud in the afternoon. There will be showers returning for Monday. Those clear through, and Tuesday it's back to a mix of sun and cloud. Temperatures warming up. Chance of showers on Wednesday, mix of sun and cloud on Thursday, and a chance of showers on Friday of next week. And for Prince Edward Island in the forecast, fog around Sunday morning, then sunny breaks in the afternoon. Showers, though, on Monday as another front moves through. It's a mix of sun and cloud for Tuesday, a chance of showers on Wednesday, mix of sun and cloud on Thursday, and a chance of showers on Friday of next week. Todd.
All right, we'll see you at the end of the show for the Wake Up Weather. Thank you, Kaylin. Canada's World Cup home tournament is officially underway. Moments ago, our national team, well, they tied against Bosnia-Herzegovina in Toronto, but a big day for fans. Let's go live to the FIFA Fan Fest in downtown Halifax, where Brianne Foley has been watching the game, watching with fans. A little chillier than it was yesterday when we were with you, but I'm assuming a pretty good atmosphere still.
Yeah, Todd, you're correct about that. Thousands of fans came out for this one, and you really should have heard it here in downtown Halifax when Jacob Schaufelberg got onto the pitch. Everyone just erupted, almost as loud as they erupted when Kyle Lawrence scored that equalizer. Now, it has cleared out a little bit here because, of course, Fan Fest is moving tonight, so it's wrapping up here at around 9 p.m. There is still music, and there are still people enjoying some of the festivities happening. Of course, the games are still going on. Pictures are still being taken. Fans are still walking by, living their best lives. But this is going to be teared down tonight, Todd, because that's going to go back over to Charlottetown. So this Fan Fest is making 40 stops across the country, coast to coast, while we host World Cup here for the first time. So it was an exciting experience for everybody here, exhilarating for sure. The energy was here, but it's coming to a close tonight. Todd?
All right, but that's good news, as you mentioned, for folks in Charlottetown. Then it moves on to New Brunswick. So viewers in those provinces, if you were watching the last couple of days and you saw our coverage, you know what to expect. It's really worth getting out there to see. Brianne Foley, thank you very much. Appreciate your coverage from the Garrison Grounds in Halifax. All right, we will take a break, and when we come back, we'll turn our attention from, well, one sport to another, politics. Friday Politics. We'll kick around a few things that have happened this week. Stay with us.
With Aaron and Peter. A Halifax Music Fest is coming up at the end of the month, and we want to send you on us.
Tickets, a great hotel, spending money, all the details at move100halifax.ca.
Welcome back. It's time for Friday Politics. Tonight, Ottawa reveals a food strategy, Trump's latest Kuzma rant, and the Prime Minister is in France. Our guide to what's up on Parliament Hill and a bit beyond is CTV Ottawa Bureau Chief Graham Richardson. In studio tonight. We last talked to you in Manhattan.
That's right. It's good to be home.
Yeah, good to see you. Listen, Graham, soccer out-muscling politics for the next few weeks, probably. That doesn't mean there isn't anything going on. Let's begin with Mark Carney in France today. You know, he's pretty direct. You know, he's quick to cozy up to the EU, makes no bones about it. Is this another salvo at the U.S.? How do we read this?
I think you read it, Todd. You take him straight. Like, he's basically saying, look, we've got to do all things now. We do have to pivot away from the Americans because they are essentially turning inwards and turning their backs on free trade in many ways. And we have to strike up new relationships. But we also have to preserve what we can with the United States. So he would say he's doing both. But you're right, and I was with him in Armenia, and around the Europeans, he's a bit of a rock star right now, and they really want to talk to him. And this government believes these trips are essential for where the country's going, despite some of the criticism from the opposition on it.
What do you make of this purchase of the Saab? The Saab components that they're buying for these surveillance, mostly for the Arctic, instead of going with the Boeing, the American. Is this to sort of jolt the U.S., or is this possibly to make amends for not buying their fighter jet? It still gives something to the Swedes, but it doesn't upset the Americans. We buy the F-35s. I don't know if they're worried about that, but how do you read that whole thing playing out?
Well, first of all, GlobalEye is Canadian-made from Bombardier, the plane, and then Saab installs its technology. And so I think they've said publicly they believe they're going to sell this to other countries. And so the way they've announced it, the answer is yes to all your questions, Todd. Yes, it's a way to move away from the Americans. It's also perhaps a hedge if they don't go with the Gripen, the Saab fighter jet. Yeah. He was very quick when he announced it to say there's 20% American parts in it, but this is a move that many are anticipating NATO itself to do, is to go with this product. We'll see if that comes true. And that would, of course, be about Canadian jobs, a Canadian company, And yes, quite a striking thing to not buy American technology. But again, take him at his word. At the convention in Montreal, gone are the days when 70 cents on every dollar for defense goes to the United States. It might be 30, it might be 40, but it's not going to be 70.
Okay, well, let me ask you about Kuzma. And in the White House the other day, the president had a bit of a rant about Kuzma. I don't know if I'm going to want it. I don't know if I'm going to sign it. But then we hear from his ambassador to Canada, Pete Hostra, who was really kind of told the White House line in a bit of a departure for him. And you tell me if I'm wrong here. You know, he says, hey, you know what? Contrary to what you hear from the White House, there are things that we need from Canada. Aluminum at the top of that list. You guys should be pitching us really hard because there's stuff we need.
Right.
Is that coming from the White House or is that him on his own?
I think it's all like I don't think on trade issues Hoekstra says anything that would be out of step with the White House, generally speaking. So I can't figure out if Trump yesterday was just kind of freelancing, and we do see these signals out there, not from the president, that they are moving closer together on perhaps some kind of a deal, right? We have Carney in New York saying, you know, Canada Strong helps make America great again. We have discussions in Washington, you know, and we have statements like that. And so I'm wondering whether the president was just freelancing, just saying it because he always says it, or whether it was positioning. It's hard to tell, Todd. It really is hard to tell, because at times you think it's the one voice in the American government, and then things like this happen, and you know, maybe they're just trying to get a competitive advantage behind the scenes and try to leverage, which he always tries to do.
There's that July 1st deadline, but everybody's cautioning, don't get too worked up about that. We heard our Dominic LeBlanc say as much in the last day or so. Okay, we don't have much time left, but I want to ask you about this national food strategy. $3 billion on over 10 years. We know Mr. Carney likes to have the long view of things. This will drive Mr. Poilievre to distraction, won't it? He's been hammering on the government to bring in immediate programs to help Canadians who are suffering the cost of living. This it takes the low, slow approach, it seems.
It does, and he's talking about things that will take a long time to bring in, like more competition, so there's more grocery stores. That doesn't happen overnight. I think with this government, and yes, Poilievre has been hammering away at it, and he still is, saying that this is just more, you know, strategy and planning and not a lot of doing. That's their criticism of this. But I do think that the government, this particular government, likes to have sort of a corporate, longer view strategy out there publicly that they can refer back to whenever they want. And I'm not suggesting there's nothing here, but it does read kind of big picture-ish. And they would say, but we've done, you know, the GST credit, we've done things on food to make it more affordable and rebates and those sorts of things. So they're attempting to address it in a way that's substantial, but also that quiets the criticism, because it is the number one issue out there, whether it's where you are or where I am. It's all across the country, is the cost.
Graham, thank you very much. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Appreciate it as always.
For sure, Todd. Thanks.
We'll take a break. We'll be back with much more after this. From the medical files, an increasing number of young people are turning to AI for mental health support. CTV's Amanda Debison has the details in tonight's edition of The Lifeline.
A new study shows teenagers and young adults are using chatbots for emotional support. The study, published in JAMA Pediatrics, finds nearly 1 in 5 young people surveyed have used artificial intelligence to get advice or help when they're struggling. Researchers found 40% of those teens using AI for emotional support are doing so at least once a month and consider the advice helpful. One doctor says AI chatbots can be used by teens who may be embarrassed to turn to an actual person. But experts say chatbots should not be used as a substitute for person-to-person mental health care. There is no evidence that chatbots lead to positive outcomes in the long term, or that they actually reduce symptoms of anxiety or depression. Quebec has become the first jurisdiction in Canada to regulate the sale of energy drinks. The bill prohibits the sale of energy drinks to anyone under the age of 16 and to anyone looking to buy them for children under that age. The vote was a resounding 103-1. An energy drink is defined as having a caffeine concentration of at least 150 milligrams per liter and containing other ingredients like taurine, vitamins, or minerals. The new rules take effect in 6 months. Finally, south of the border, a new study finds nearly 1 in 3 middle-aged Americans struggle to understand basic health information, including how to properly take prescription medications. The research, published in the Journal of Internal Medicine, tested more than 900 patients with an average age of 52. Researchers found many participants had difficulty recalling information from a doctor's visit and correctly interpreting prescription labels. Experts say confusing instructions and inconsistent labeling can lead to medication mistakes. That can include taking the wrong dose, mixing drugs improperly, or increasing the risk of side effects. The study authors say the findings highlight a need for clearer communication from healthcare providers. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for the Lifeline.
On the markets, the Dow ended the trading week up 353 points, and you may want to be sitting down for this. Elon Musk, already the world's richest man, well, now he's the world's first trillionaire. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez with more.
SpaceX shares started trading today on the NASDAQ and immediately shot up. The initial public offering price was $135 US, but these shares have been in high demand and the price shot up over 30% at one point. The company has raised $75 billion, which is a new record for an IPO. SpaceX builds rockets, satellites, and also has an AI division. Elon Musk controls more than 80% of the company. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 71.52. West Texas Intermediate down to 84.88. Western Canadian Select is down to 73.72. And the TSX gained 266 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Trillionaire, Kaylin Mitchell.
Isn't that something?
Isn't that something? Well, in terms of the weather, things aren't going up quite so quickly.
No, it's a lot different out here on the weather deck than it was when I first came in this morning. I've been outside a lot for today, but when I walked into the office, it was sunny and warm, and now it's gray, breezy, and cool. I was expecting that change, but definitely feeling it out here now. Let's take a look at a viewer picture for tonight, and this features some of the sunnier conditions that were around parts of the Maritimes for today. This one coming in from Shubenacadie River was sent in by Peter Arsenault. I want to thank Peter very much for taking the time to send this picture in. Said it was beautiful at the time, and yeah, I mean, that picture tells that tale for sure. Shubenacadie area for tomorrow. It's going to be fog in the morning. There'll be a few showers moving throughout the day, and the high temperature will be held close to 15 degrees. Day planner for tomorrow, Saturday morning across the Maritimes. It'll be cloudy with showers, drizzle, and fog. Within the showers tomorrow, there is a low risk of some small thunderstorms. As we move from the morning into the afternoon, parts of the Maritimes that can see the sun break through a little bit include western parts of New Brunswick and possibly the southwestern corner of Nova Scotia. There will still be some scattered showers, though, present in the region. You can see temperatures are going to be held on the cooler side compared to what we experienced throughout much of this week. Let's find out what's coming up on your Morning Atlantic.
Monday on Your Morning Atlantic, the Kent Big Bucket giveaway.
We have had some great prizes so far, and our June reveal is no exception. Tune in to win.
Start your morning with us Monday on Your Morning Atlantic on CTV2 and Crave.
And coming up here Monday at 6, a prescription for health care. We'll speak with the new president of Doctors Nova Scotia about diagnosing challenges in the system. That conversation's coming up Monday night at 6. We're back on the CTV main network for that. And finally for us tonight, a winery in Michigan where ducks have become full-time employees. They're called Indian runner ducks, a special breed of flightless ducks bred to target insects that can damage crops. The ducks are part of Dune Bird Winery's sustainability practice. Now, instead of relying on pesticides that could harm the environment, these ducks go to work getting rid of pesky insects. The winery says it got the idea from a vineyard in South Africa. It looks like the idea is all it's quacked up to be. That is our look at the day here at home. Bruce Frisco here at 11:30. CTVNewsAtlantic.ca has our weekend reporting. We're going to leave you in a stunning garden in Prospect Bay, Nova Scotia, courtesy Cloud Camera Aerials, and the names of everyone who puts on this broadcast each night. I'm Todd Battis. Have a super weekend. I'll see you Monday. Good night.
CTV News, the Maritimes' #1 newscast. Watch live.